Tom and Kim, this is a very good question from Teresia.
Okay.
Do we trigger the anchor during rapport, and then continue with the product presentation? So, during building rapport,
Right.
I think that is also the good timing, to either trigger any anchor.
Okay. So I've got one more thing I can cover if we have a few more minutes, if that's okay, Hank.
Sure.
All right. So we teach something called the objection destroyer, and it actually, in persuasion, you're going to get objections
all the time.
Honestly, if you use the anchoring stuff, and we have something,
you get less
the
objections.
next step process. The objections are easy to get over. All right. Now, it's very simple.
Moment of inspiration there.
If I could just remember what it was.
The objection destroyer? Yeah. Let's get.
If only
He's done so well he can't remember his objection.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So objections.
Yes.
Objections are like a wall, and most of them are just automatic that people think they need to make. But when someone has an objection, okay, they usually put it right here in front of you.
Yes.
They feel safe on the other side of their objection. Okay. So let's say you've got a good anchor. All right. And so. And this is I'm gonna do this, and it's kind of, it's in combination with the rapport stuff, all right? But it's just everyone out there, imagine that I'm telling you something and you're going like, no, I don't want to do that, all right? I go, equal friend. I totally understand that. And I kind of like temporarily anchor the objection right here, all right? Now, I've actually had people take the objection and just mess with people with it. I'll tell you in a second. So basically, you say, I totally understand that. And because our brains are, our visual cortex is an incredible amount of connections in the brain. But I say, and if I totally get that, and I move it away, now there's nothing between us. I've actually anchored that feeling and slid it away. If you're on video, you can slide it right out of the video. Okay?
Yes.
And face to face, you could slide it anywhere. And it doesn't have to be up here. You could do it down here.
Because it's about the filter between you.
Yeah.
Right? How they're looking at you through an interaction.
I've cleaned the plate. And people, oh, that's really great, okay? Other than if you don't do something with that, the objection just kind of starts floating right back in.
You have to tell them where to go. Again, people want direction. They need to know where to go with this. So you have to move it aside and replace it with the action or the direction you want them to go in.
So basically what you take it and you move it aside, and you think, that's great. And then you're going to give them an action. So I'm going to use the good anchor to give that action. I'm going to say, listen, I'll tell you what. Why don't we take a look at this instead? So I'm basically lifting the good anchor out of the bucket and I'm putting it where the bad anchor was.
Right.
Okay? Then I'm going to tell them what action I want them to take. Let's take a look at, where we can, if price is important, I totally get that. Why don't we take a look at this and see if it's really price that you need to take care of, or maybe even we could save you a few bucks. And now
But you don't even have to mention price again. Yeah. You can do it completely differently. Do it again with moving the price aside.
Yeah. So I'm going about price. Then what do I say?
Price. And then what was the next part? You said we'll take a look at this and see if we have something.
Take a look at a few more things and see where
see where we fit.
See where we fit.
Right.
Okay. And you can keep it that vague. Now, when I do that and I take that good feeling, I've stuck it there.
Right.
People tend to have amnesia for their objection.
Right.
And I can even drop, and I'll drop a little subordinate, and I'll say, look, and what we'll do is we'll see if that's really important, we'll see if that's really important, and while I do that, I'll hit the bad anchor. So they don't even like their own objection anymore.
Right.
All right? If they bring their objection up, it doesn't feel right. They'd rather feel good than feel bad.
And your rapport positioning is very important here because the most common mistake people make with the objection destroyer, especially people who sell every day, is the minute they get an objection, they go into a bad state.
They want to fight.
And they get snarky. They get kind of this, well, I understand why you'd feel that way.
You got to explain snarky.
But I think they get it when I say it. It's like, I understand that. They get kind of like, oh, these stupid people, how do they not understand any of this? I understand. And then they move it aside and go, but I know exactly what you need. Or whatever they say. And then they get this holier than thou kind of attitude. That's a huge mistake people make with the objection destroyer. It'll kill it. Will not work because you're not using your anchors and you're not using rapport. The other mistake people make is they start with one state, move it aside, and come up with a good anchor with the same state. That doesn't work either. You're shifting your state. If you're moving something aside, then that's an objection with subordinate. You better have the good feeling and the good state when you pull up the anchor afterward.
Yeah. I mean, notice the fluid. I get you. I totally understand you. I get that. Okay. Inside your mind, you're saying that's stupid. Don't think that. All right. But you're still thinking, yeah, I totally get that. All right. And then you go really connected friend. Like, I'm your best friend. Let me tell you. Why don't we take a look at this?
Right.
Okay. Then you go mildly dominant, and then we'll see if that's really important or not. Okay.
And it's important to know for.
And,
okay, sorry.
And then
Go ahead.
you actually drop back to equal and say it's totally up to you, which it isn't because you just manipulate
Right.
the hell out of them. All right.
And a lot, like again, backing off and letting them off the hook gives them the freedom, brings down walls, and pulls them in.
Well, that's what you talk about the concept of.
They move
pressure and
toward you,
release
yeah.
pressure.
But that's another thing
When
we
you release
teach.
pressure,
Yeah.
the brain goes, okay,
Yeah.
thank God, I'll do that.
Right.
Okay. I want to, one caveat I want to end with here, that I want to warn people about. What?
I want to make one point about the objection
I'm
destroyer,
not
though,
done
real
yet,
quick.
So apparently she has.
No, just a quick point. Because a lot of people, we talked about natural movement, making everything natural the way you move. It doesn't have to be up in their face. That is not, I mean, yeah.
It could be a point on the table. You can
Making
flash
it
your finger across the
real,
table.
or you can move it, have it down, you can make it, I can do it with head tilts and a flip of my hand. All the time. All day long. So don't feel like you have to subscribe to the way Tom
This
moves
is
to
really
do
great
this.
for
You don't have
demonstration
to.
purposes, but
And for him, it's great because that's how he talks. That's not how I talk.
okay.
And it might not be how you talk.